Put very simply, I would say the educational institutions of India have actually literally doubled in capacity in the last 10 years. I mean, if you were to look at the number of universities, the number of colleges, the number of technical institutions, the number of schools, they are roughly 2 to 2.5x from where they stood in 2014, which in absolute numbers, if I were to take colleges, for example, means creating 2 new colleges a day. Now, the result of all of this, if I were to give it to you numbers, today infrastructure, for example, for a country where this has long been our problem, we are building about 27, 28 kilometers of highway a day. On railways, which is so critical for our movement, and many of you come from industries which recognize its importance. For us, railways has actually in the past impacted logistics, impacted energy. You know, we had an energy crisis because we had actually a railway wagon crisis at one point of time. Today, that same sector, we are building 12 to 14 kilometers of railway track a day. Similarly, if you look at aviation, where in contrast to many other parts of the world, our aviation, I'm happy to say, is doing very well. In fact, the current challenge we have is that there are about 1,000 new aircraft on order and they're not coming in as fast as we would like. But in terms of the infrastructure, again, on average in the last decade, we've built 7.5 new airports a year. So there are 75 new airports which have been added on in the last 10 years. Similarly, I spoke about the digitization of the country. Of the most, the most common example of it are the transactions, the micro transactions. You see, even street vendors today, do their payments. They prefer QR code to returning the change for your larger note, and just the volume of the transactions is interesting because it shows a society ready to embrace digitization. So even if the transactions are small, I mean, we still do on average about 11 to 12 billion transactions a month, which is, I mean, easily about 2-3 times what the next one I think after us is Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. But the US does about 4.5, I think, a year. But I cite that not so much for the volumes. I admit, that our volumes are small, but it shows the society's readiness to embrace digital medium. And if today we can confidently say that we are a 8% growth rate economy with a few decades of that kind of growth rate ahead of us.